Hi, this is Zap, and welcome to the Reset and Zap podcast.
I just need a reset. No, it's not enough to press pause. I think I need a reset. I need a reset. Reset.
Welcome to the Reset and Zap podcast. I am your host, Zap, and with me is my co-host.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your boy TeeJay.
And on this episode, we're bringing the best of the best.
Best of the best.
From season 2. Yeah, just so you guys have an idea of what we're going to be talking about, we're going to start it off with our pause segment. And in our pause segment, we're going to be recapping and sharing with you guys what are some of our favorite episodes from season 2, including achievements, milestones, and much more. And as soon as we're done with our pause segment, we're going to follow up with our reset time, where we're going to be talking about a very special album that has already dropped. And we're going to reveal, some I don't know. Should I even tease them?
We're going to reveal things.
We're going to reveal things, yeah. Just leave it at that. It's good. So I want to talk about it so bad, and I'm having to refrain myself about it.
Yeah, we're not there. You wait till we get there, and then we'll talk about it.
Exactly. So let us pause. Okay. And like I said, we're going to talk about our favorite episodes. So I thought it would be fun to share 2 and 2. I know that's impossible. Like, I have way more favorite episodes, but let's keep it at a limit of 2.
Limit of 2.
Yeah. You want to start, or do I start?
You can kick it off.
Okay. One of my favorite episodes that I had a lot of fun in doing for season 2 was our trivia time.
Yeah. I was gonna use that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. We can choose both. I guess let's just exchange at that point, because it's your favorite too.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, so let's start off with you. What makes this episode so much fun?
For me, it was so interesting because, like I said, we didn't plan on what we were going to ask each other, nor did we reveal what we were going to ask each other. And in a funny sort of way, as well as we know each other, we ended up still learning things about each other during that episode. Like, at a certain point, it didn't even feel like we were recording an episode. It just felt like we were just asking each other questions again. Like, when we first became friends, we would ask each other questions about each other, and it just reminded me of like those first moments of us meeting. So it's like, it turned into more than just another podcast episode. It turned into, oh wow, I'm actually learning things about her I didn't know.
Yeah, I think this all boiled down to we were having a talk, and we were coming to the conclusion that maybe not a lot of people know who I am entirely, or who you are. So we were like, what's a nice dynamic, to for people to get to actually know us. And then at the same time, we learn some facts about each other, and that's how the trivia show was created.
Yeah, and I think what's even more interesting is that I even learned more stuff about myself, because some of the questions you ask are questions that I've never really been asked before. So I had to like think like, ooh, I never really thought about that. How do I feel about that? Like, what is my answer? So it's like I had to look within myself to even answer some of the questions you had to ask. So it was really an interesting episode at the end of the day.
Yeah, we had a lot of positive feedback, by the way. A lot of people enjoyed this episode. So, and it felt different. It felt really different from what we're accustomed to doing when it comes to the podcast.
100%.
So it was a nice, lighthearted conversation.
Yeah, it was definitely one of my favorite episodes. That was actually going to be my number 1 favorite episode from season 2.
Gotcha.
It's actually the trivia episode, so you kind of stole my answer.
Okay, so what's number 2 on your list then?
See, this is where I'm struggling, because it's hard.
This was a bad idea to narrow it down just to 2
Yeah,
episodes.
it really was. Can I say what my second favorite thing was about season 2?
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
Instead of a specific episode?
Well, yeah, I think that's fair
Because
enough.
it's really hard for me, because my second favorite thing about season 2 was the fact that I was able to have the Master Sword Music family be involved. So like that's why I'm like struggling because it's like 3 different episodes, and I'm like But it was the episodes with VG, Thousand Star, and Katetsu. Like it was really fun to have Master Sword Music become a part of the podcast and to see our 2 entities kind of like come together to like your podcast and my channel just coming together to make a thing. And those episodes are very memorable to me. Like the episode we did with Thousand Star was the fighting game episode.
Yeah.
We got a lot of good information out there. We learned a bunch of things about fighting games that we didn't know. And he was able to break stuff down in a way that really made sense. So like that was really, really,
Thousand
really fun.
Star would be the teacher I wanted in high school.
Yeah, like he's the Master Sword Music fighting game guru for a reason. Like he's the one that I reach out to when I need to know anything about fighting games because he probably knows.
Yeah.
And then the episode we did with VG was also interesting because it was really cool to talk to another content creator who also does gaming, who is also a parent.
Yeah.
It's very hard to find people that can match all of those qualities that we also have. So it's like he's a parent, he's a gamer, he does content creation, he has a job. Like we have a lot of the same things going on. So and then the fact that we're about to bring a new child into the world, like it just made it even more interesting to have that aspect of it, from like a new parent to experienced parents to to different people in different cultural backgrounds. And it just, we brought together a lot of different things, and I thought made that episode like very, very super memorable.
Gotcha.
And then the last one with Katetsu was just fun because I got to talk about RPGs with another RPG head. So it's like, I love RPGs, you love RPGs, let's gush about RPGs for an hour, go.
Which I remember a long time ago, you always commented on the fact that you would like to be involved in an episode where you guys would just talk about RPGs, and somehow we brought it to life.
We got to do it. We brought Katetsu on, who's a big RPG head like myself, and we was able to do it. So it's just like, having them be a part of season 2 was like, I think it's probably one of my biggest memories from the episodes. Like, oh man, I got to see my family become a part of the episode. And I just love how we always come together to help each other with various projects. Like, they come together to help with the podcast, or we help them with their projects, with their music, and they become a part of the show or whatever. Like, it's so cool how much we've integrated our 2 entities into one. And I think those episodes of the podcast really show like that side of it, and not only them being a part of it, but the fact that those episodes were just so good.
Yeah, I think another one of my favorite episodes that as I go through the list earlier, I was looking at it and I'm like, okay, which one would I say I had most fun and I learned quite a bit from it, was the very first episode that we did of season 2, where we're talking about, are you a gamer or are you a collector?
Oh, that's also a good one.
Yeah.
Gaming versus collector. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Because I learned a lot about myself. Like you mentioned for the trivia show, in this episode, that was one of those episodes I was like, ooh. Because as you talk, you're like, you figure out the differences, but also the similarities that you share with the other person. So I learned quite a bit about myself, and it was just a really fun episode to put together and break it down, you covering the gaming side, but then me covering the collecting aspect of it, and just giving them like a nice little guide, into our world.
Yeah, same thing on my side. I got to learn more about the collecting side because I never really was that deep into the collecting side of it. So I got to learn a lot more about collecting because we never really talk about that aspect of it because, we're not super duper heavy collectors like some people are, but you do know a lot about that field because you were into that at that point. So it's like, it was cool to actually get to know more about the collector side because I don't know anything about gaming collecting, so.
Yeah. And talking about, favorite episodes, let's talk about milestones and achievements that we have accomplished from the podcast.
Okay.
Season 2,
I'll start it off. I think our biggest achievement from just overall from the podcast is the fact that I can sit here and say that the Reset and Zap podcast is an international podcast.
Ooh.
Yeah, this season and last season, part of last season, but even more so this season, our podcast has been listened to all over the world. Where we've got listens in Germany and in South America and Russia, Japan,
Hong Kong, apparently.
Hong Kong. Like we've hit countries all over the entire world. So Reset and Zap has become an international podcast. And I think
incredible.
That's an amazing achievement to know that people around the world
are enjoying.
Yeah, are listening to the podcast on a regular basis. And that's pretty amazing in my opinion. So I think that is absolutely fantastic milestone.
Yeah, the fact that the monthly listeners have gone up, and I don't know, it's kind of it's almost emotional too in a way, because like we've gone to places where we've had special guest appearances, or we're live streaming, and then all of a sudden people will start singing or chanting the Resets intro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's just it's kind of surreal, because you're like, wow, this was an idea that we had a long time ago behind closed doors, and then now seeing it brought to life and people actually enjoying it.
That's pretty dope. I remember doing one of your live streams, everybody was just typing in the chat, I need a reset. And it was so hilarious. I was like, wow, like a lot of people really were into it, man.
Yeah.
And like I remember we went to, I think it was Classic Game Fest.
Yeah.
We went to, and then like somebody walked up to me and literally was like, "You're part of the Reset Zap podcast, aren't you?" I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I need a reset. I'm like, wow, that's crazy.
Or they'll go to your videos and be like, when is the next
When is the podcast coming back? When is season 2? I want season 2 podcast. I'm like, bro, you on the wrong channel, bro. I really like the podcast. When you bringing the podcast back?
Oh God, maybe that's why you need to join the email list. But anyway. But yeah, it's a huge milestone, and I mean the fact that the podcast is still not even a year old.
Yeah.
And we've already accomplished like these big achievements. It's been pretty historical. Especially coming from two people that have never done podcasting in their life.
Nope, this is the first time we've ever done it ever.
So yeah, I mean I've been invited as a guest, but
as far as running our own,
yeah,
it's
a whole different world.
It really is.
Another one of the milestones that I have to say that, specifically from season 2 is what you brought up earlier, of the fact that we decided to open our doors and invite other people in and have them as special guests. So that was a really cool little dynamic, and it was a learning curve as well, having to learn to incorporate more people into our podcasting world, and just get to hear other different points of views when it came to these discussions.
100%.
So that was really fun. I think one of my, it's hard now that I'm thinking about it, because I can't choose one guest over the other. I mean, to be fair, honorable mention, the fact that I was able to invite Jameson Matthews to be on board. As one of our external guests, and covering all things Resident Evil.
That was amazing.
I learned a lot behind the scenes when it comes to this man.
Oh, yeah.
And,
interesting life.
Ooh, that guy has done everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite a resume. But when it comes to the MSM family, it's really hard to choose one.
That's what I'm saying, man. Like I couldn't do it. That's why I was like, give me one thing.
I mean, if I gotta choose one, I probably would have to go with 1,000 Stars episode.
The fighting episode was dope.
Yeah, but it's because I learned so much. Like, this man,
he knows his stuff, man. He's been part of the FGC for a long time. Like, he's run a lot of gaming tournaments. He's been a part of a lot of gaming tournaments. He's been he really is involved in the community. So he really was a great source of knowledge to go to, because he literally is part of it.
Yeah. So with each season, we've grown, we've learned, and we've stepped out of our comfort zone and allow us to, just explore different options and different ways we can keep, this podcast and just being informative, but also entertaining.
Oh, 100%. And I'm so happy for what we've able to accomplish so far with, like I said, no knowledge whatsoever, just diving into the waters and seeing what happens. I didn't think that, we would be where we are here, where we're, getting close to the end of season 2 and already preparing for season 3. So
yes, sir.
It's an amazing place to be, and I'm just super excited to see where the podcast goes from here, and just what will happen next,
Yeah. Season 1 was all about laying that foundation, getting you guys to get to know who we are, what the podcast is about. And now in Season 2, it's been exhilarating to just be able to invite other people to join our world and just having fun. I feel like Season 2 has been all about having fun.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I definitely had a lot of fun this season, for sure.
Which, can we reset?
I just need a reset.
So in reset time, I'm actually going to let TeeJay take the lead on this one because we have a very special announcement that we're going to be breaking down right now and talking about more. So do you mind being my interviewer and I'll be your interviewee?
Let's do it. Okay, guys. Let me get into my TeeJay the Gamer mode for a second.
Okay, all right.
I gotta become TeeJay the Gamer for a moment.
All right, let's go.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your boy TeeJay, and we are back on the Reset and Zap podcast. And I am glad to be your temporary host for today. And we're gonna be talking about something very special because we are in the midst of, or just at the beginning of,
yeah, depending when
the latest project coming from the Master Sword music family. This album has been a few years in the making. There's a story behind this.
Yeah.
And it is I Love Journey by ZapCristal.
Yeah.
And this is 14 tracks of amazing music that we have worked on together that I've helped you produce and that you've written and put so much heart and soul and love and confidence into.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm feeling honored.
You should. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And we are at the launch of this project, and we just want to talk a little bit about it. So I'm gonna jump off with a couple questions.
Okay.
Just to for those of you who do not know, This is not her first project. She has actually released a project previously, and she stepped away from music. And she might get mad at me for asking this question, but I never did ask, and I kind of want to know what made you walk away from music after that first project.
Well, I was young. I was 17, and when I dropped the album, I was 18 years old. I had just recently had given birth to a baby, which is now Jade nowadays. So, Jade was probably like a year old when the album dropped. So
Okay.
I was just becoming a mommy, learning to be a mom at a very young age. The first album was more of a religious album. So, it had I come from a family of Pentecostal, so I came from a Pentecostal point of view.
Okay.
And my dreams really was at that time that the first album I was making, my dad told me very clearly, he said, whenever you're ready to, make some music, make sure that I am the one that's going to do your very first album.
Okay.
Because I think if I would have gone a different route, Dad would have been a little bit upset, So yeah, my dad's a musician. He has his own studio. He's been a producer for many, many years. So it was an honor for him, to be able to produce my first album. So, but I was very young and naive. I was barely starting into the music industry, just learning how to write, learning how it works. I'm grateful because I got a lot of opportunities where I was invited on a lot of different, TV sets, radio interviews. Hearing my music on the radio was really exciting. I did like a little mini concert and stuff. So I got to see a glimpse, where I got to do live performances and stuff like that. But, I quickly realized that I just wanted to kind of steer away from doing religious music because it wasn't really for me. So I just didn't know where I wanted to go with music.
Okay.
Yeah.
I never got to ask you that, so I'm glad I finally got the answer.
There's a lot of more details, but I'm not going to jump into that.
Yeah, that's fine. Because for those of you who don't know, I was the one who was able to bring her back into the industry, and there's a little bit of a story behind that where as we were being friends, all I ever knew her for was content creation, doing her little YouTube videos, and she knew that I did music, but we were having a conversation one day and she let it slip that she could do music. And I'm like, are you serious? Like all this time we've been friends and I'm the guy, I'm literally the music guy, and you're not gonna let me know that you have done not only like can sing, but have recorded music before in an official studio and officially licensed products and stuff. And I was kind of upset. Yes. I was in my feelings a little bit. I ain't gonna lie. I was kind of upset.
I'm never gonna forget.
And then it all culminated into me forcing you to work with me. And we did our very first song together, which was Unpacking, which ended up becoming a part of Arcade 2.0. So,
seems so long ago, but it doesn't feel like it.
It was a minute ago. That was...
I can't even recall.
2.5 years ago.
Wow. Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
When we recorded the song, you got to think about it. It released much later after we recorded it.
We wrote it much, yeah.
So we wrote it probably like 6 or 7 months before the album actually came out.
Even earlier, yeah.
So yeah, we're talking about like 2022.
I can't. Yeah, I think. Yeah.
2022. Yeah, that had been 2022.
Yeah. Wow, that's been a minute.
So yeah, and that was our first project together. So my next thing is, how did it feel getting back into doing music, and what does unpacking mean to you?
Well, I mean, like you said, it was very unplanned. It was not in my plans to reveal to nobody. I don't even know what we were talking about that day. I know it was music related, and I can't recall. All I know is it just slipped, and once I let it slide, I was like, what did you do? What did you do?
Told the wrong person.
Because, for the longest, I just didn't, I wasn't motivated enough into going back into music. I just didn't want to. It was never my interest. But I always was supportive of people who create music, because me coming from a family of musicians, I understood, the much involvement that it requires, into making it out there and exposing your music and just receiving critique, because you never know how people are going to react to your music. Some people will like it, some people won't like it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So when I told you, that's when I felt the most pressure, because I was like, now I gotta prove to him that I actually can sing, because one thing is saying to somebody, I can sing, but can you?
But can you?
Yeah. So I sent you I think it was like a short clip of something that I had worked on in a studio with another female, which I forgot her name, honestly. But it was like a workshop I had collaborated in, and we just created something, and I sent it to you, and you listened to it, and that's when you really got upset.
I was like, not only can she sing, but she could actually sing very freaking well. So I was very, very upset. And I was like, you're going to do this song with me.
Yeah, so at that point, he didn't even ask me, hey, do you want? No, he's like, we need a collab. So I know you gave me the opportunity to take the lead, I guess, in this first track. So one game that I was identifying immensely with during that period of time was Unpacking. And I guess you had to do a little bit of research to find out what the game was about, so you can understand better where I was coming from and why I selected it. Am I right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. And as we were, creating the song, I was telling you, what I wanted to go with, where I wanted to go with it. I know you were creating several beats and kind of letting me choose which one I was feeling at that moment. Eventually we landed on one. And then after that, everything kind of fell in place really smoothly and really easily. Like, you wrote your part, I wrote my part, and I told you what I felt the song was about. And it was my first. When I listened to Unpacking, it's still kind of hard for me to listen to it in a way, because for me, Unpacking is all about healing. So it was my therapy session of jumping back into music and healing from a lot of wounds from the past that were a product of me stepping away from music. So Unpacking, it has a much deeper meaning, because I'm really using it like a diary where I'm just healing from all those wounds and giving myself a chance to jump into music again.
Basically, in case you haven't noticed yet, we're going through the history of how we ended up at your album. In case you haven't noticed yet.
Oh God!
So that's what we're doing right now. But okay, so after unpacking, eventually, at first that was just going to be a single. We were just going to release it as a single, just as something me and her did together. But as we...
True, I completely forgot about that.
That was the original. It was never intended to be part of Arcade.
Yeah, let me sit back and listen, because this is interesting even for me.
Yeah, it was never intended to actually be a part of Arcade 2.0, but eventually, I just decided that I thought it really fit the project. It gave the project a different feel. Because the whole idea behind arcade is that, you know, when you go to an arcade, there's like different kinds of games. You know, there's fighting games, and then there's beat 'em ups, and then there's shooters, and there's racing games.
Gotcha.
So it's like you get to play every different type of game that you can play. So the whole idea, I don't know if I've ever actually even talked about this before.
No.
But the whole idea of arcade is basically like you're going into an arcade of music. And you're able to get different kinds of music. You can get love songs, or you can get hip hop. You can get, you know, happy songs, sad songs. You can basically get a little bit of everything. Just like you did when you go to the arcade, you can play every type of game. So that is the whole thing around arcade, the project itself. So that song was so different than anything else we were working on for Arcade 2.0 at the time. And it really helped fit that theme of like you going into an arcade and getting different kinds of, oh, it's a scary game, it's a crazy game, it's a funny game, you know.
Gotcha.
So I really thought that song really fit the project. And
I think that was during that time when because I wasn't expecting it. I think during the live stream, I don't know if it was for that or if it was for another song that we had worked on eventually for Arcade, when you decided to let me into the MSM family.
Yeah, it was right. It was actually directly right after that. It's after we had put Arcade on there, and you know, people, you know, some of the other guys got to hear it, and they were like, "Man, she's really dope. Is she gonna do other stuff as well?" And I was like, "You know what? It would be cool if we can get her to do other stuff." And then I reached out and see how you felt about it, and you seemed to be pretty into it. So at that point, I had talked to. Actually, I haven't told you about this part either, because before we let any new member in, I always discuss it with everybody else first.
Gotcha.
So I never just make a decision on my own and bring somebody.
Yeah.
I always reach out, and you know, so we have our group chat on Twitter that we always use, and I jumped in there and I was like, "Hey guys, I'm thinking about, you know, bringing ZapCristal in to be, you know, part of the Master Sword Music family to do some music with us, and what do you guys think about it?" And everybody was completely blown away that you even wanted to be a part. So everybody was like super excited to be able to work with you. So they were like, "Yeah, man, bring her in." And that's when I showed them unpacking, and they were like, "Yo, this is super dope. Is this gonna go on Arcade?" And I was like, "Well, if she's gonna be a part, we can definitely put it on Arcade." And it's like, "All right, cool." And then at that point, when you joined the fold at that point, and everybody was like, "All right, we want to work with her. We gonna put this song together. We gonna do this song." And next thing you know, you jumping on this song, you jumping on that song. And you ended up being on quite a bit on Arcade 2.0, which like, because by the time you had joined, we were like kind of in like the finishing phases of it.
Yeah, I think you guys were wrapping it up.
Yeah, so like the way that you managed to just come in and immediately just hop on so many tracks and like be such an integral part of Arcade 2.0. And then when we did the intro and everybody together was on it, it was just like, it just made that whole project feel complete to have you be a part of it. So after that, everybody was completely sold that, she is definitely MSM all day, every day.
Yeah. And it felt very organic, because usually I'm not the person that gets involved in groups, because I'm like, I'm a solo wolf, you know, a little loner lobo, you know, if you want to go Spanish with it. But once I jumped into the group, it really feels like what you say. It's a family, and I'm not even saying that because we're on the podcast. I think I've said it so many times. Like at this point, everybody gets the point. But it feels like a family.
Yeah, and that's the reason that I don't call it the Master Sword Music family just because it's something cute to say. Mm-hmm. We really are a family, even beyond the music, even beyond content creation. We're friends. Yeah. Like Katetsu, 1000 Star VG, those are my brothers. Like they all call you sister. Oh, that's Big Sis. And where's Sister at? How's Big Sis doing? Like that's how we are. Even with Katie, who was a part of
Shout out to Katie.
Shout out to Katie Savage, who was a part, but she decided to move on to other things. She still to this day still calls me her brother, and I still call her my sister. Like I'm still her little bro, and she's still my big sis. Yeah. So like we built this culture around us that we are more than just content creators helping one another. We're more than just musicians. we really are a family, and we kind of, that's what I like to refer to us as. It is the Master Sword Music family, because we are more than just a group of random people who came together. Like, everybody has a story, and how they, like, just like we just told the story of how you became a part, each one of the members can also tell you a story of how they ended up being a part of Master Sword Music. And it was all very organic and just naturally happened. So it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And so how did it feel to be a part of that project, to, like, being completely out of music to then being a part of a group project? Like, how was that for you?
Oh, I don't think I've ever told you this, right? Well, no, we
never really talked
summer
about
talks. It felt, oh God, how do I break it down? It was a very interesting process. I guess if anything, I learned a lot, because I'm always used to working with my dad and like other producers. So each producer has his own way of working and getting stuff done. They have their own taste, I like to say, of how they get stuff done. So, as much as we were friends, getting to see you actually working behind the scenes and seeing how the whole creative process of creating music is for you, and then also just being involved in the album, seeing how everybody pitch in their ideas and molding to what eventually Arcade 2.0 was going to be. It just let me learn a lot, because then I'm coming from a content creator side where I know how I work, and how I get stuff done. So it was really interesting to step aside and then see somebody else, how they get their work done. And I learned quite a bit, because I was like, oh, cool. So this is how everything, comes into fruition when it comes to your channel and the videos and the albums, and how music is just done, is created, basically. So if anything, I learned a lot, but I also felt very supported. So, there was no backlash. There wasn't, any sort of weird vibe that you're like, I kind of feel unwelcome. No, it was, I felt very welcomed. Everybody made sure that I felt comfortable. If I needed help with something, people would, be quick to listen, pitch in ideas. I can go on and on. Okay, guys, because it was, like he said, it was an album that took a long time to complete. I came towards the end, and even though, we were making it seem like he was done with the album, he was still not. So I still got to see a good chunk of all that process up to, launch day, and seeing how people reacted eventually to the album, which was pretty successful.
Yeah, it was definitely the most successful MSM project, like our group project is definitely that. And at that time, it was the most successful project we've ever put out. So fantastic project, and definitely had a lot of fun working with you. And it was a fun time.
I jumped into a lot of tracks too. I lost count, but it was several.
It was quite a few.
Maybe 4 or 5.
I think it is like 4 or 5. I think you were like the second highest returning person on that album behind Katetsu, who for some reason Katetsu just jumped on like every single song on that album.
Katetsu just beat me at this point.
He was definitely the most, but you were right behind him. So,
he and I got overly excited with Arcade 2.0. I could say that.
Yeah, definitely, and it was cool because at the time you two were like the newest members. Because I don't even know if you knew this or not, but Katetsu had just joined not too long before you did. So like you and Katetsu were kind of in the same class, period. You know what I'm saying?
We were newbies.
Yeah, y'all were like the new class that was coming in. So it was like both of y'all were kind of new to the process at that time. So it was really interesting to have like 2 new members join at the same time. Because it started with like the class before you would have been VG and Katie. They came around the same time. So then I was working with them 2, and then they got used to it. And then the next class was you 2, was Katetsu, and then you. So that was really cool to see.
And then it was very heartwarming too, because I'm never gonna forget the day that once Katie stepped out, she was like, "Well, I'm gonna leave y'all in good hands, because now you guys got a new female in the group." You know? And it was I felt very honored. I was like, "Ooh, I'm filling in Katie's shoes now." as the second female, so that meant a lot, especially because Katie and I, regardless, we just had a really good friendship even before I stepped into MSM. So
yeah, Katie was the first lady of MSM, and now you were taking over as the next first lady, and then became the first lady.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the most literal sense.
I wonder why.
So that was really interesting. And then, so moving on from Arcade 2.0, the next thing that you were a part of was actually my album in more ways than one. Yes, we all know that you did an amazing job with the videos and turning that whole project into a movie, but you were also featured on 2 of the songs. So you actually was a part of my how did it feel to be a part of like my solo project? Like, the first time, the group project is kind of different than being a part of like my solo effort. So how was that for you?
A lot of pressure. Because like you said, the group, everybody's pitching in. So everybody's sharing the load. But for a solo album, you get to see one person carrying it all. And then on top of that, I took the role of, doing the visuals for the album. So being the director of it and coming with the ideas and making sure that the videos would get the results that it now has gotten, was a lot of pressure. Was a lot of pressure. And especially because it was even more significant for us because of what the background story of the album is about. So, it was just like layers and layers, but I don't even mean it in a negative context. I think, overall it was a very positive learning experience for me because I did something I've never done in my life.
Cool. And that brings us up to where we are today. So before we get into the project itself, let's talk about the creation of the project. How did it feel like building, all right, let's start from the very beginning. Because you actually came to me and approached me with the idea of wanting to do your own project. So what made you want to do that?
I'm like having to think about it right now. So I wanted to get back into music because I was feeling a little bit more comfortable. And I knew that this album was going to be special because I wanted this album to be, like you always say, your diary. So I wanted this to be my diary of coming back to the music and just spreading my message to the world. So for me, this is more of a personal achievement because I've never been this vulnerable, and opened up in the way I have, like I am doing now for this album to the world. So I wanted this album to be almost like a leap of faith where I'm healing and I'm showing to the world the results of being whole and being healed as a person.
Okay. And now we're going to get a little deep. Because you do have ties to the music industry and you have worked with other people before, and you're not new to the game. So I'm very interested in this question, and I'm glad I finally get an opportunity to ask it. What made you choose me to be the producer for it?
Well, one, I already did something with Dad, so I'm not gonna do something with Dad again. I love you, Dad, but it is what it is. The reason why I chose you is because, one, at that point, you and I were in a relationship, so that's one. But it wasn't even so much because of the relationship side. It was more so because I felt like your music and the way you create music was fitting for for my vision, for my album. I wanted to go for a certain sound, a certain style, and I felt like in this phase of my life, it fit very well. So, and I think doing the 2.0 album helped me see your ethics, your work ethics, and how you get stuff done. So I was like, well, if I'm gonna trust someone with something that is so precious to me and have them, make it come true, come to life, then I mean, why not him? It's I don't know, it's kind of weird to explain, but like for me, picking a producer is like a huge deal because you're pretty much entrusting the entire success of an album to this person.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I feel honored. Very honored to have worked on your project. And I would say, just from my point of view, this was actually kind of a challenge for me, because I've never really produced a project for somebody else. Like, I've done the arcade albums, but those were essentially me with the group. So I would, build the songs the way I want them, kind of send people out, people would give me ideas, and we would, kind of workshop everything. But it was still, at the end of the day, it was the Master Sword music sound, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But for you, you wanted something a little more different and unique than what I normally do. So I had to kind of step outside of my box to be able to produce some songs for you, then to give you the sounds that you were looking for and give you the feels that you were looking for. So it was a good experience for me too, to step outside of my box. And I feel like overall, because of this album, my production skills have reached a totally different level, which you can see some parts of that in All About You, because for those of you who don't know, we were kind of working on both projects simultaneously.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, that's a lot of things that you may not understand, but All About You was already in work when we started her project, but it wasn't completed. So as I'm still working on my project, we're also starting her project as well.
Yeah.
So by the time we end my project, we're probably about halfway through hers. And then, we keep going, but we were kind of working on both ends. So you kind of get a little of both sides you get to see in both projects. So that was really, really interesting and fun to do.
Yeah, I guess that was the first person who actually came to you and asked you about helping me create a solo album.
Yeah, because like even with the recent project that we dropped before this one was Katetsu's project, Tokai Friends Volume 1. He came with me with the idea, but he produced it himself.
Yeah.
Like that was the whole idea, is that he wanted to get into production and he wanted to show off his production skills. So he wanted to do like this mixtape kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was different than, your project, where it's actually like I'm producing it, you're writing it. So me and you are like kind of more tied into what goes into it.
Gotcha.
Whereas with Katetsu, I kind of just let him do his own thing, and he kind of just came to me when everything was finished.
Yeah.
So it's a much different like operation than his project. So that was very, really interesting. So now that we've talked about the creation of the project, let's talk about the project itself. The title.
Our Love Journey.
What does that mean?
Our Love Journey is I'm trying to think back, what was the original name we were trying to go with it? I can't recall.
I don't remember the original name.
Yeah, I'm sheesh. I wish I could remember what the original name was, but anyways, it probably sucked if I can't even remember.
I can't even think of it as anything else now. It's just Our Love Journey. That's what I think about it now.
Yeah, but so long story short, Our Love Journey, eventually the way I came up with the title for it was because it is a product of All About You. So All About You is telling the story of how we met, how we came to be, to where we're at right now. So Our Love Journey is a sequel to All About You, which is exciting. But the difference about Our Love Journey is that, in All About You, you got his side of the story. And like I always like to tell people, there's always two sides to the story, so you might want to listen to both sides. So Our Love Journey is now sharing my side of the story, but in a more future context, because I'm talking about it from being in a relationship with you, now married, and then going back and reminiscing about how it all started. So therefore, the title, Our Love Journey. So it covers that aspect, but then it's also like a general term about our love journey. So basically, talking about self-love, healing, self-healing, and how each one of us have to go through our love journey in order to heal ourselves, to become whole and become the person that we want to, eventually become and want to be.
That was deep, girl. Fancy.
So it does have it does have a double meaning, which I can we talk about the album cover?
Yeah, we talk about it.
Yeah, so the album cover is not really my idea. It's more so his idea. But as soon as he created it, I was like, this is exactly what I want, because it just expresses perfectly what the title of the album is, which is Our Love Journey. And I'll let you explain a little bit about the
when she told me that she wanted it to be called Our Love Journey, and as we'll talk about later some of the songs on the album, as I listened to it, I basically listened to everything that we had created, and in my mind what I envisioned was, this is a song about breaking free and kind of releasing yourself and like that, because I think one of the songs that really encompasses the album as a whole is Freedom.
Yes.
I think that one really encompasses what the album is about, and that song really stuck in my head to when I was trying to come up with ideas for the cover. So the idea of the wings being freedom, because flight is always seen as a freedom, because you can just go where you want to go and be where you want to be at any time, because you can just fly there. So the idea of the wings kind of just was and then the cloud background was okay, you're in the sky, you're free, nothing can bind you in the sky. And there's also another hidden meaning behind that cover as well, because those are not just any kind of wings, those are butterfly wings. And for those of you who may not be aware, my nickname for her is Mariposa, which is Spanish for butterfly. So there's, once again, a double meaning. So the butterfly represents my love for you, because that was my name for you, to show you that you mean more to me than just what everybody else calls you. Oh, you're Crystal, you're Zap, whatever. If I say Mariposa, you know it's me. You know what I'm saying? That's my name for you. Can't nobody else call you that. That's my name.
Yeah, true. That is true. Facts.
So that was, that's my name. So the butterfly kind of represented that, my love for you. So the love journey, my love, the Mariposa, boom, boom, boom. And then also the wings representing freedom and, setting oneself free. So that was kind of the feel I got after listening to your project, and I came up with that cover with you standing in front with the butterfly wings and the clouds.
It was mind blowing. You was like, you got to check this album cover out, and I was like, okay, all right, what did he come up with? And then I sat down, he showed it to me, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, this is really good. Because it just gave me everything that I wanted the album to be. When you look at the cover, it's peaceful. There's it's serene, tranquil, and it's everything I wanted to reflect about me. Like you said, breaking free. So I gotta be biased, not because it's my cover. I'm just saying, I love the album cover.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the covers I would say I probably spent the most time working on, because I'm not the greatest graphic designer in the world, so it took me a long time to figure out the tricks to make the silhouettes and how to make it all fit together and play together and look like it's all one synergistic piece.
Yeah.
So I feel like my album cover art after that project has just gotten because that was one of the first ones I think I did that wasn't my own project, and then after that I did Katetsu's, and I kind of really
it was a stepping stone.
Yeah, it really helped open up my mind to what a cover art could be, because for the long time I was always doing the Legend of TeeJay series, which had a very distinct style. It was purposely supposed to look like a Legend of Zelda cover, so it's they always kind of had that same look and feel.
Yeah.
But now that I'm doing projects outside of that series, All About You and My Love Journey, and it made me open up my mind to what I could do with cover art. So I really had a lot of fun creating that art, and once I created it, I was like, this is it. This is it. I know she's gonna like it. This is the one.
Oh yeah. And
as soon as you saw it, you was like, yeah, that's it.
That's it. Yeah, no changes, no arrangement, no. Yeah, that was the one.
So, super, super dope.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into this album itself.
Oh God.
Let's break it down. Man, let's talk. We ain't gonna talk too much because we ain't want to share everything.
No, because there's gonna be probably there's already been put a live stream for it.
Yeah, but we're gonna talk about it a little bit. We got 14 tracks.
All right, I'm gonna try to be as short as possible.
We got 14 tracks. We're not gonna go over each and every individual track.
Gotcha.
We're not gonna do that. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about a couple aspects of the music. First of all, overall as a project, what do you, if you had to try to describe what this album was as a whole in the shortest amount of time possible, how would you describe this project?
As in what sense?
As in, like, what message are you trying to get across here?
Oh, well, yeah, like I explained earlier, it's a story about, how we came to be, but from a more present tense. And then also, it's my diary. So basically you're just, imagine yourself going to an amusement park and you're trying every single ride, and every single ride is different, right? It delivers a different type of thrill, a different type of emotion, a different type of outcome. So basically each track of mine is like stepping onto a ride and not knowing what to expect, and you're just kind of navigating through my emotions and seeing what I was going through at the moment and how I am where I am right now. So, right now I'm really proud to say that I've healed a lot. I still got a lot of work on. That's why I say it's my diary. But, every time I listen to a track, sometimes I'm even blown away because I was like, wow, I was courageous enough to even say this, on this track, or talk about this that for me, publicly was really difficult to talk about, but yet I somehow put it into words in a song, so it's, I don't know, it's for me still surreal, when I go back and listen to my songs, because I'm like, I don't know how I did it. Like a lot of these songs, I'm like, I don't know, because I can't recall what even happened. All I know is I was in my feelings at that moment, and it just happened.
All right, and we're gonna end this with the part I've been waiting for.
Okay.
But we're gonna play a little game.
I gotcha.
We'll have a little fun.
Which I'm probably gonna lose. Okay. All right.
Not that kind of game.
Okay.
That's not a win or lose kind of game. It's just we're gonna have some fun.
Okay.
All right. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go back and forth. We're gonna pick 3 songs from now each. And we're gonna not necessarily your favorites.
Okay.
But just ones that you would like to discuss.
Oh.
Instead of talking about every single song, I'm gonna pick 3 songs that I want to know more about, and I want you to pick 3 songs that you want to talk about and share some more details about.
Ooh, shoot! Am I allowed to pull up my?
Yeah, I actually have it right here. If you want to look,
Okay. Because that would.
And I'll kick it off.
Okay.
One of the first songs I would like to get some more information on would be number 2, which is "Running Away."
Oh, that's a hard song. Oh, why?
What was the inspiration behind that one?
So this track, we were creating beats, right? And I stumbled across this one beat. And like I said, I don't remember usually how things come to be, but for some reason I do remember this one in particular. And all I remember is I was sobbing for no reason. I was just crying and crying and crying. And I was like, this song makes me feel this way. And I was like, I feel like I need to write about some sort of life experience that, I need to heal from. That's basically what it was. I need to heal from some things that I haven't been able to put out there in the world. So it's a 2-parter song, where if you pay attention to each part, like one covers, my interpersonal relationships, but then the second part of the song also talks about how it crossed over and started affecting my professional career and my workplace, and how I was basically dealing with depression. So if you listen to the song, you're gonna get a sense of she's struggling. She hit a deep rabbit hole, and she's depressed, and basically going through an identity crisis at that point, and how I was pleading to get out of it. you know. So it's a very difficult song to listen to, and every time I listen to it, it's just like, because I mean I lived through it, so it's like real life experiences, and you know, it's not, it's even right now I'm talking about it. It's not an easy song to talk about. When I recorded it, I think we had to stop a couple of times because I couldn't even record it.
It's your If I'm Not With You.
Oh God.
If I'm not with you, that's what If I'm Not With You it was for me. It's like that song. I still have a hard time listening to that song.
Yeah, I mean it's beautiful. It's a beautiful song because when I listen to it, the after product, I'm like, wow, like this song is a banger. Like, yo,
yeah, and
then, I don't even know how it came to be, but
then once you put the visuals together for it, which you guys will see soon, the visuals for that one, it kind of hits.
Yeah. So, but I felt like out of all the songs in the album, that song like hits home.
Okay. That was my first one, so you get to go next. We're going back and forth. So you pick a song that you wanna highlight. You can look at the list here if you need to.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. Okay, you know what? That's one I want to explain about. I want to talk about Water Temple.
Oh, snap. Oh, talk about it.
So, Water Temple is, I gotta be biased, it's one of my favorite songs from the album. But it was because I had an itch in the middle of our creative process where I wanted to do an acoustic session. I wanted something where it was simple and, you know, the vocals are everything to a song. So, you know, that's how acoustic sessions are, you know.
Actually, there's quite a bit of a story behind this song, too, actually. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I was like, I want to do a song like this. I can't get any ideas. I don't know what to do. And I just kept going back and forth. And, you know, before he and I were a thing, I've always listened to his music. And there was this one song, and deep down inside, I always knew I wanted to do something with it, and it was Water Temple. So he had created a song called Water Temple, and I was a big fan of it. And I was like, you know what? I am not going to ask for permission. I want to do a remix of this song, but I want to do it in my own style. I don't even want him on it. I just want me. So I asked him, I was like, are you okay, you know, with me just creating a remix of a song of yours and doing my own little twist to it? And he was like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And he didn't even know what I was going to do. He had no idea. I'll let him talk about it in a minute. But I wrote the whole song, and once I recorded it, I was like, dang, girl, you really did your thing. You know, that's how I felt about the track every time I listened about it. I was like, ooh, mama, those vocals are on point. You know, those are. If I were to be proud of something that it just,
you should be. That's very good.
Yeah, it's Water Temple. Let me stop because I'm gonna gush over Water Temple. It's one of my favorite tracks.
Choice of words. It was actually interesting that was the song that she picked. Well, first of all, Water Temple is probably one of my favorite songs I've ever written, actually.
Really?
I really love Water Temple. I think it was a very underrated track from that album. And it's one of my favorite songs. I absolutely love Water Temple. That song was amazing. But the funny thing is that when I originally wrote Water Temple, it was actually intended to have a female vocal on it. Was a part of it, but it didn't work out to where I could have a female vocal on it. So I just ended up just doing the whole song by myself, and it turned out really good. It's one of my favorite songs, but it was always intended to have a female vocal on it. So when you chose that one, I was like, yeah, this is actually exactly what I wanted it to be anyway. So it's like, in a way, you help kind of fulfill like the dream the original vision of that song. So now when I hear both versions, I'm like, yeah, that was it. Like, that's exactly what I wanted the song to be. So you actually brought forth the original vision of that song. So it was very interesting. So I was more than happy to let you do your thing on that one.
Yeah, which it was never intended to be that way. Like, I'd have a remix on my album, but I just feel like Water Temple just deserved his own special spotlight.
Yeah, I do that. We both agree that song is awesome. Like, Water Temple is dope. Water Temple remix is even doper.
Yeah.
Like,
it's hard.
It's fun, man. Like, it's a good song.
Yeah.
One day we might have to do a part 3 with both of us together.
Yeah, I'm down.
Just to complete the Trinity, my version, your version, and then we just come together and make
kind of like I don't know a lot about Zelda, but you can do
the Triforce. This is the Triforce: power, wisdom, and courage.
Yeah, right? Pretty much.
Let's do it. All right, so my next pick. I want to choose wisely.
You said 2, right? Or 3?
3.
Okay.
I want to do 3.
Okay, gotcha. So I've only mentioned 1. Gotcha. Oh, shoot. This is going to keep getting harder and harder. Oh.
Matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and do it because this is what I want to know more about. So I'm going to talk about this one.
Okay.
Number 8, date night.
Ooh, boy, do I got a story for that.
Let's talk about it.
So date night is, man, I'm just going to end up saying the same thing over. It's my favorite track. I love this song. It's my favorite track. But yeah, you're going to hear it a lot. Date night was fun, man. Date night was really fun. So the whole concept behind date night is okay, let me give a little bit more context to that before people be like, this girl, she has no life. I got to experience my adulthood late. Because like I said, I became a mom at a very young age. So I lived half of my life just dedicated into raising my kids, So I never really was the type of girl that had the opportunity of, I'm going to go clubbing, I'm going to go out, I'm going to have fun, girls' night, and woohoo, no, that was not my case. But I always wanted to live life, just explore, have fun, do things I like, because I never got to really do that at an early age. So when I got to be with TeeJay and we were in a relationship officially and, now married, I wanted that opportunity. I was like, I found my perfect partner. He's down to do whatever with me.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I was like, now I can kind of fulfill this whole list of things that I've always wanted to do and I've never really experienced before. So one of those things involved actually going clubbing. Like we went to clubs and had fun. And it was even more fun because I think the fact that I was doing it with you just made whatever activity we were doing a lot more fun than, let's say, if I were to do it by myself or with someone else, right? So, going to clubs, going to the opera shows, going to, just a picnic. I've lost count, guys, because we've done so much stuff. I've lost count at this point of everything we've done. Comedy shows.
We've done a lot.
We've done a lot.
Concerts.
Museums. I can't keep up with everything we've done. But I wanted to bring all that happy, fun moments of, hey, you don't really have to be single to have fun. You can also be married and do all these fun things with your partner. And that's how date night came to be. So I wanted to bring all those fun and happy memories and experiences that we have lived together as a couple and create a track around it. And date night came to be. And let me tell you something. I don't know if I'm going to get...
Do your thing.
If he's going to stop me
for
what I'm about to say. But we had to recreate the moment for date night. So let's just say that when we recorded the song, I was actually drinking. Because I wanted to recreate that moment. Hear me out. It's all for the shot.
All for the art. All for the music.
I didn't mean to say that. Actually.
It's all for the music.
So let's say I was feeling myself when I did that track.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm actually featured on that track.
Yeah.
So I had a fun time doing that with you. It's probably one of my personal favorites on that track because it's just such an enjoyable track, and it's fun and it's energetic and it's still loving and still in the couple sense. It's not like dirty or raunchy or anything like that. It's just good, clean, wholesome fun, even though we're still at the club. So it's like it's for me it's like the perfect combination.
Yeah, for me the whole outcome of date night is like if you're listening to it with your significant other, like it should make you feel like, hey babe, you know what, why don't we go out and have some fun? You know what I mean? Like you should, like by the end, towards the end of the song, you should feel like, hey, you know what, I want to have fun too with my partner. Let's go. You know,
Let's do it.
So that's what date night is for me.
Okay, that was my number 2. All right, your turn.
Yeah. Oh my God. Ooh.
What song? What's the second song you would like to highlight?
Oh God, Jesus. This is getting harder. I'm gonna go with Time.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Time. So Time is what I call a dream song. It all came to be because of a dream. So I've never really experienced that before, but for this album, for some reason, because I know there's another song, but I can't remember what the other song was. That also came because it was product of a dream. But I think it was like early in the morning. I woke up and I told you, I was like, yo, I'm in a studio and I keep humming to this beat, and these are the words that I keep hearing, and I was not paying too much attention to it. Honestly, I was at that point. If he wouldn't have stopped me, I probably would have forgotten, and that would have been a missed case, basically. But he was like very adamant of like, no, it's a dream song. Like, we gotta work on it right now, before you forget. Because once you forget, we can't go back. And I'm like, okay. So you went right ahead. I told you exactly how it sounded in the dream, and the lyrics. I remember the lyrics clearly, which is the hook, the chorus to the song. And once you know it, he came up exactly with the sound and the style for what the song was, and we did that in one session, I think.
Yeah, yes, we did.
And yeah, that's why every time I listen to it, I'm like, this song is so perfect, but like it was meant to be, because it was a dream song.
Yeah. To give you some background references on that, I too have experienced this on quite a few occasions where I'm in a dream and then I'm creating a song and then I wake up. And from my personal experience, anytime that I make those dream songs, they always end up becoming some of my most popular songs ever. Perfect example I'll give you is 3DS.
Oh yeah.
3DS was actually a song that I created in a dream. So I know for a fact that those songs they have a very short shelf life. So once you have it, if you wake up and you actually remember it, you have to work on it immediately or you will lose it. And it'll be a song that is, I've probably lost more songs that I've written because of stuff like this, okay?
Oh,
so there's probably some songs that I wrote that were absolutely amazing that will never be heard because I didn't work on them immediately. So for the future, I've never made that mistake again. So when she told me that she wrote a song in a dream, I was like, we got to go. Because I already knew what this is. I'm like, if we don't do it now, we're going to lose it and you're going to be mad later on in life. And you'd be like, man, that song, like I'll never be able to do it. Funny thing is, it reminds me of this Jack Black song called The Greatest Song in the World.
Oh.
It's a song about how they made the greatest song in the world,
but they can't remember
it because they didn't write it down.
Yeah.
So the song the greatest song in the world was a tribute to the actual song that they wrote, but they can't remember it. So like every time I think about that, that's the song that pops into my head. So that one I was just like, we got to do it. We got to do it.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, cool. Number 3 for you.
My number 3.
It's just banger after banger in this album, so it's
yeah. All right, I'm just gonna go right to it. I'm just gonna do it. Even though I already know the story, I know it's just a cool story to tell.
Gotcha.
So we're just gonna go right to it.
Oh God.
Number 14.
Lolly.
Song called Lolly.
Here we go again. I gotta say it. I love this track. So Lolly, I have a love and hate relationship with TeeJay for this song, actually, because we keep setting ourselves little challenges here and there, right? Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, you started off and then I'll continue, like how this challenge even came to be.
Yeah, so we do this thing called challenges, basically where we push each other to do something that we normally wouldn't do, or something unique, or something so crazy that it probably shouldn't work, or just to push our creativity to the next level. Like an example was when I did the All I Want Is You remix. And you challenged me to not approach it the same way that I approached the original as far as my verse. So what I did was, I was like, you trying to say the way I did it was blah, blah, blah. I was mad. So I was like, all right, I'm going to show you then. So what I ended up doing was I started the verse similar to how I did it in the original song. But then like after the first 2 bars, I just stopped. And then I just go rapid fire, high speed, super da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and just completely different than what I did on the original, and just completely blew it away. And when I recorded it, I played it for her, and she was just like, okay, all right.
Even Katetsu said it. He was like, oh, wow.
I wasn't expecting you to like go in that direction with it. I was like, yeah, well, she challenged me, so I did it. So that's an example of what we did. And for those of you who are followers of the of ZapCristal and our beautiful Watt, as she likes to say, you know that she has this term that she likes to say when she gets upset at something.
Suck my lolly.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. And I've heard it so many times, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to give you a challenge. Your challenge, and the original challenge, was for her to just sneak the term suck my lolly into a verse somewhere. And I was like, yeah, I don't think you can do it. Can you sneak suck my lolly into a song where it makes sense and it actually fits? Yeah, can you do that? And
I was so pissed. Like I said, I was like, oh, how dare you challenge me? Like, you just doubted my songwriting skills. Is that where we're going with it? That's hence the love and hate relationship at that point. And I'm like, I'm just gonna, my competitive side just kicked in,
Because we're both very competitive.
Yeah, so I was like, I bet I can do that and more, So I sit down and come up with, how we write all of our lyrics in our notes. That's something I actually learned from you.
Yeah, that's me.
And because I was the typical old school paper and pen. So I start writing down this verse, and it's funny because I had my son involved in this one. And I'm like, okay, I have all these ideas. And basically me and him were writing and listening to the beat. And from a verse, I ended up writing an entire song just around the phrase,
suck my lolly.
Suck my lolly. So Suck My Lolly is basically a parody song where I'm like, one, proving that I can do it, that I can actually write not only a verse, a whole song around this theme. But secondly, it's literally suck my lolly. Like, that's the message of the song, I'm at such a good place in my life. I'm living life. I'm as happy as I can be. And I'm like, if some of y'all don't get it, guess what? Suck my lolly. So it was so, and then the funny part about it is later on when we went to Classic Game Fest, I wrote the verse and he didn't know. He had no clue, by the way. He had no clue about this process. And Katetsu comes over, and we started working with him. We had like this beat session where we're just cooking up beats and writing songs and blah, blah, blah. And Katetsu starts playing this one beat. And I'm like, hold up. Play it again. And instantly I knew. I was like, that's Lolly. That's the beat. I think at that point, you guys still didn't know what I was trying to do. And I'm like, send me the beat. That's the one. I'm claiming it. And it was not until the very same day that I recorded it that then you found out that it was,
I was like, oh,
for Lolly.
There it is.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, shout out to Katetsu Tokai for the production on that one. He did. He also produced "Choose Me," which is another song on the album, and "Moving On."
Yeah.
Moving On. Yeah, Moving On, "Choose Me," and "Lolly" were all produced by Katetsu Tokai. So shout out to Bro on those songs.
He did great. He did great.
He really did. It was an amazing job.
Yeah. I guess I gotta go to my number 3 then.
Yep, you're number
Tied
3.
Up. Again, one of my favorite tracks. I know you said not to go with favorite tracks, but I just really want to talk about this song, okay? So just give me a minute.
That's fine.
It's gonna be Multiplayer. Yeah, multiplayer.
It's actually one of my favorites, actually.
Yeah, so I don't think I've ever shared the story about multiplayer. So for multiplayer, like I said, even before TeeJay and I became a thing, I've always was listening to his music. So there's this one song that is one of my absolute favorites besides Water Temple. I got a lot of favorites when it comes to his albums, okay? So that's a whole different story. But he has this one track called Single Player. And
you never told me that, but I figured it out through your song. Because the first line is, "You're no longer a single player."
Yeah.
I caught that. I caught it.
Yeah.
I just never pulled it out, but I caught it.
Yeah, so he had created a song called Single Player, and I really liked this song. And I was like, it's genius. It got the sax in the background. It's jazzy.
Shout out to Justin.
Yeah, I'm a jazz person, so I mean, it seemed fitting for me. And I was like, this is a really dope idea. Like, it's a really dope concept about single player as in, singlehood. So I was like, that's really cool. So then when I was with him, I wanted to pay tribute to single player. But again, I didn't want to let him know. So it was a surprise. I just didn't want to ruin it for him. I wanted to see if he can catch on to what I was trying to do. So this is my Other Dream song, actually.
Oh, that was
that's my Other Dream song. So I was.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I remember that.
Yes,
I do remember.
Now it clicked with me. So I fell asleep, as we all do. And I had this dream, and I wake up, and I'm like humming to these lyrics, and I'm like, oh yeah, I just need to find a beat. So I always wanted it to be like, gamey, so like a nice little gamey tune to it. And that was the first verses I wrote. So I was like, how can I hint it out? So I was like, that's hence when I wrote, you're no longer a single player, because I can be your multiplayer. Because I was like, well, if he can pull off the concept of a single player, then why can I not use multiplayer?
Yeah, I caught it. I was like, okay.
So I wrote it down, and then he came up with the beat. I told him exactly what I wanted, and then immediately, again, as a dream song, everything just fell in place. It went super smooth, and it's just a really cool song. And eventually I was wishing that he would catch on the idea that it was, again, based off of a song that you had written.
Yeah, I did. That first line kind of gave it away.
Yeah.
I'm pretty, because I focus on lyrics pretty heavy. And for those of you who don't know, I did most of the production on this album, as well as the mixing and mastering. Yeah. So I've listened to these songs like 50 million times. So like I've probably listened to these songs more than you have, honestly.
Yeah. I think you know the lyrics more than I do.
Yeah, because when you're mixing and mastering, you have to go over the songs over and over. Like every mixing and mastering session, I probably listen to a song probably 40 to 50 times before I'm finished mixing and mastering it. So like when I heard that first line, I was like, you're no longer single. I was like, oh, okay. I see where you're going with this. I see where you're going with this. Yeah. So I did catch it. I just never called it out, but I definitely did catch it. And I was like, okay. Pretty cool.
So yeah, that is the story of multiplayer.
Okay, and for those of you who are interested in these songs and the rest of the songs on this album, you can go to your favorite music streaming platform, whether it be Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon, anywhere music is streamed. Ooh. Type in the name ZapCristal, and you'll find the album right there. Yeah. And I go follow her on all your favorite music streaming platform. Hit that little heart or hit that little star, whichever platform you're on. Download, whatever you want to do. Yeah. And show some love to that album. You can check it out right now because it is available.
Yeah. It's a dream come true, and it's a very special album, and I'm excited to see how people are reacting to it. And not only that, but like you said, there's videos.
Yeah, we got, and I was just as she did with All About You, where she did all the visuals for my album. I have done all the visuals for her album.
Yep.
So we will be dropping those videos. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and give you a quick update.
Yep.
Because we have a little one on the way, we have decided to change the release schedule of our projects. So, on Tuesdays, it will be a ZapCristal video. That will be the days that you'll get her videos, whether it be a podcast or whether it be a new video game, a diary,
live stream,
whatever she decides to drop that day. Yeah. Tuesday will be her day. And then on Thursday, I will be dropping my videos, and I'll be alternating between doing remixes and doing the actual music videos. So you'll get 2 remixes every month, and you'll get 2 music videos from the album every month.
Yeah.
So just be prepared for that. Every Thursday, 6:30 p.m. CST, you can come to the channel, either get a remix or catch one of the music videos from the album.
Yeah, which I recommend joining my email list at www.ZapCristal.com, because when you join my email list, I pretty much inform you guys of the videos that are dropping for my channel. But in addition to that, I'll be also letting you guys know once a video has dropped for the album, so you can go straight to it and check it out as well.
Yeah, so I want to thank you guys for checking out this podcast episode today, and we want you to remember to reset and zap for the week.
I really wanted to do it.
This is my time.
You're the host.
Yeah, I'm the host.
I feel so weird not closing it.
You don't get to do it.
Okay. All right. Well, it's TeeJay the Gamer. Bye.